Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Halloween event of RoboMania. I am your host, Game & Soy, and we have some spooky robots that are going to fight to the death. With only one robot remaining, there are 20 robots in this tournament, and only one of them will come out on top as the spookiest RoboMania robot. A lot of people ask me what's my favorite holiday, and it's not just Halloween, it's the entire month that builds up to Halloween. There are some amazing robots that have been signed up by 20 different builders themselves to be entered into this tournament itself. This will be a single elimination tournament where each robot will go head to head with the winner moving on into the next round. Today we will be seeing 4 different fights, 8 different spooky robots, which means we will have 4 robots moving on into the next round. This is essentially the qualifying robot round. The ranking system is a little different compared to the Battle of the Rookies tournament. As you can see, we have 4 empty spots in the first round technically. So with the fights tonight, those will all be filled up. Let's take a look at the first 4 ranked robots of this tournament. Coming in at number 1, we have the Reaper, a horizontal spinning robot that just looks really crazy. This robot may look a little pointy, but it dishes out an amazing amount of damage. Coming in at the number 2 seed, we have the Doctor. The Doctor is a robot that looks beautiful. It may not be known for doing a lot of damage, but it is known for punting opponents out of the arena. In at the number 3 seed, we have Sin. Sin is a full body drum spinner. This robot looks gorgeous and it looks like it can kill. And coming in at the number 4 seed, we have Blood Spangled Banner. If you guys watch BattleBots, this robot is essentially endgame. It is a very powerful, very well built robot that is going to pretty much do really well in this tournament. Before we get to any of the fights, let's take a look at the rules of the arena. Each fight will be a total of 3 minutes long, including main events and championships. Each minute, the judges will award the winning robot a total of 10 points, while the opponent receives 9 points or fewer, depending on the dominance of that minute. The judges will base their scorecards on damage, control, and aggression, which means a robot must follow all 3 of these criteria in order to win. In order for a robot to win a fight, it must destroy, immobilize, or eliminate the opposing robot before the fight timer is up. If the fight were to end after all the time is up, then it will go to a tiebreaker where the judges will determine a winner based off of their scorecards. There are 4 total ways to win a fight in RoboMania. A robot can knock out the opposing robot, which means it completely destroys the opponent and prevents it from working. A robot can win by technical knockout or TKO, which means it can simply prevent the opponent from moving for a total of 10 seconds of the in-game timer. A robot can also win by elimination, which means it can punt or flip the opposing robot over the arena walls and out of the arena. If a robot can't complete either of these finishes before the fight timer is up, then the judges will take over from there and declare a winner. Like I was saying earlier, we have 4 different matches tonight. The first fight will be between Rotten Flesh and Devil for Detail, followed up by It's Spooky Month and Little Goblin. After that, we will go see Tuwile Reaper go up against Hefty Sting. And for the final fight, we will see Reaper versus the Grim Reaper. 2 Reapers in one fight. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the first fight of the night. Coming into our first fight of the night, we have a tale of 2 opposites that'll go head to head. When Rotten Flesh and Devil for Detail go against each other, we should be in for a fight that should be good on paper. And for our first fight of the night, we have Rotten Flesh going up against Devil for Detail. This is a classic flipper versus grappler style fight, and I am very excited to see what's going to happen. Fighting out of the red square, we have Devil for Detail. This robot, like I said, it's a grappler. It'll use that tail to clamp down on an opposing robot and slam it and make it do what it wants to do against the arena wall. It will be going up against a flipper, however. This robot's name is Rotten Flesh. It is designed to scoop up a robot into that wooden slab and flip the opposing robot out of the arena. Let's see who wins. 3, 2, 1. Let the first fight begin between Rotten Flesh and Devil for Detail. Devil for Detail immediately gets flung across the arena essentially and now is taking control. You can also see there's a little tiny robot in there. It is going to be the mini robot that is going to help Devil for Detail try to get that pin, get underneath of Rotten Flesh. But it's getting outworked right now. And as I'm saying this, Devil for Detail is pinning Rotten Flesh against the wall. Rotten Flesh is trying to get out, but it can't quite do it. Now aiming for the mini bot, and Devil for Detail is taking it for a ride. Gets flipped over, and once more, Devil for Detail strikes back. And now the mini bot is actually underneath, and it is pinning up Rotten Flesh so Devil for Detail can get back in control. A minute has passed, and this fight is fairly even on paper. Both robots have had their significant shot, their damage, their control in the first minute. And now it seems like Devil for Detail is trying to get that other push to cement a victory. Rotten Flesh gets a good flip and puts Devil for Detail on its back again and flips it back over while the mini-bot is just pinning. This mini-bot is doing a great job and it is pinned underneath. Devil for Detail is coming back trying to get its angle while the mini-bot is just holding it. Both are stuck in the middle right now trying to get that push. Rotten Flesh is up against its back while Devil for Detail is behind it currently. And that's not what you want to see from Rotten Flesh right now. Devil for Detail doing a great job of controlling this fight. Almost against the wall, and we have about a minute left in this fight. Let's see what's going to happen in this final minute. And there goes down the tail, the clamping tail that's going to hold Rotten Flesh. And it seems like this is exactly what Devil for Detail wants, where it wants to be in this fight currently. Pushing Rotten Flesh against the wall. And we have 40 seconds left in this fight. Can we see something crazy happen? Or is this going to be Devil for Detail's fight to win? Rotten Flesh gets flips itself over more like, and then gets pinned against the wall. It's trying to get away for Devil for Detail, but Devil for Detail is so persistent. It's staying right in Rotten Flesh's face, and it can't escape. And Rotten Flesh gets a flip, and now the tides may have turned, but the mini-bot seems to be controlling Rotten Flesh. And about 5 seconds left, and this looks like it's going to a judge's decision on a very close first fight. Wow. That was a lot closer than I thought it would be. I honestly did not know who would win this fight. And just like that, an amazing flip by Rotten Flesh. And just the rest of the fight, Devil for Detail stood up and made sure it made a statement in this fight, getting some good pins, but then gets flipped in the process. And look at the mini-bot holding down Rotten Flesh, wedging it up so it can't drive properly. There's a beautiful double flip, and then the mini-bot strikes again. I'm not sure how good a mini-bot can be, but there it is, trying to do some damage. While we wait for the judge's decision, let's take a look at the statistics of this first fight. This fight wasn't amazing, it wasn't the best, but obviously it was very close. In minute number 1, I really do think that was the closest minute that you can look for. Devil for Detail had 5 total pins with the mini-bot, and Rotten Flesh flipped over Devil for Detail 3 times in the process as well. In minute number 2, it seems like Rotten Flesh squeaked out that win in minute number 2, but it's hard to tell with only 2 flips and 1 pin. And minute number 3 is where I think everything is going to be decided. Devil for Detail had 4 pins in that minute, while Rotten Flesh only had 1, along with 1 flip. It's going to be very interesting to see who's going to be the first winner in the Halloween event, and I'm getting word that the judge's decision is in, so let's see who won. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decision. Judge 1 scores the contest 29-28 for Devil for Detail. Judge 2 scores the contest 29-28 for Rotten Flesh. And Judge 3 scores the contest 29-28 for the winner by split decision, Devil for Detail. And just like that, we have our first winner in the RoboMania Halloween events. Devil for Detail will move on into the next round, but hold on, it is going to be facing the number 1 seed, the Reaper, in episode number 3. There's a lot of planning that Devil for Detail needs to do in order to win that fight, but it's coming off some good momentum right now, especially off of a close fight, so who knows what's going to happen, and I'm excited to see. Sparks will fly as Little Goblin will take on It's a Spooky Month. Both robots aren't really known for doing well in this tournament, but we're going to have to see who is going to win this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for our second fight of the night? This is going to be the biggest favorite versus the biggest underdog in today's episode. It's a Spooky Month will take on Little Goblin, and I am excited. Fighting out of the red square, we have Little Goblin. The builder of this robot said he doesn't expect anything out of this robot. All he wants to see is Little Goblin to be punted into the cameras of RoboMania. And fighting out of the blue square, we have It's a Spooky Month. This robot is an overhead spinner, and it is looking to do a lot of damage against Little Goblin, but we're going to have to see what happens. 3, 2, 1, let the fight begin between It's a Spooky Month and Little Goblin, and immediately, chunks of Little Goblin are immediately being flown off and destroyed, and Little Goblin is flipped on its back while It's a Spooky Month just completely is tearing off the face of Little Goblin. Little Goblin wasn't made to be really good, but it is made to put on a good show, and now its face is completely missing. Now what is going to happen for Little Goblin? A huge hit against the wall, and immediately It's a Spooky Month is putting on a decent performance against Little Goblin, but now you have to think, is that blade too tall to hit Little Goblin now? It is altogether a Little Goblin, so I don't think that weapon is doing any damage anymore. Now that the wedges of the face of Little Goblin have been removed, I don't think the weapon can actually hit. We have 2 minutes left in this fight, and I don't think anything's going to happen after this. At least right now, it just seems like a few hits right there, but it just seems like Little Goblin is too low to actually be hit by a weapon now. Both robots are just kind of sitting in the middle, trying to figure out how to do some sort of damage, but it doesn't seem like they're really figuring it out in the middle. They're just going head to head, backing up and coming back together. There was a decent hit right there by It's a Spooky Month. And I feel like the rest of this fight is actually going to go this way, unfortunately. Like I said before, there was a good hit right there. The builder of Little Goblin wanted to see this robot get completely destroyed in the RoboMania arena. That's all they wanted to see. The weight of Little Goblin is around 40 kilograms, which is not even half of what the maximum weight could be. So it is very easy to hit Little Goblin around. And it doesn't seem like It's a Spooky Month can really do that. About 40 seconds left in this fight, and we're not getting any action anymore, unfortunately. It seems to be a pushing match while It's a Spooky Month has its weapon working. It just can't seem to get its weapon to make contact with Little Goblin at all. 20 seconds left, and I feel like this is going to go to a judge's decision, but it's going to be hard to see that It's a Spooky Month has clearly won. I feel like there is no way Little Goblin could win if it were to go to the judge's decision, just because it's not doing anything significant. And here we go, the fight is over, just like that. A boring fight, but you know, you can't always have an amazing fight in RoboMania. Here's some good shots that started out the fight, where It's a Spooky Month did a lot of damage in the first minute, flipping over Little Goblin, doing a ton of damage, until it just completely ripped its face off. Here is where the face just gets completely worked around, and from there it was just a pushing match. I'm not sure if that was my top 10, but we'll see. There's really no reason to take a look at the statistics of the match, but let's just take a quick look. In minute number 1, It's a Spooky Month landed 33 strikes with 6 significant strikes and a flip, and after that it was just a very slow-paced fight that was just resulting in a pushing match. I really don't see Little Goblin winning this fight at all based off of what the judges think, but let's see who wins. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes we go to the judges' scorecards for their decision. All 3 judges score this contest 30-26 for the winner by unanimous decision. It's a Spooky Month. A huge congratulations to It's a Spooky Month for moving on into the next round, getting out of the qualifiers, but now it has a huge matchup going against it. It will be fighting Blood Spangled Banner. This is a fight that is a must win for It's a Spooky Month, and I'm not sure if it can do it or not based off of that performance at least. It is, however, a very good test for Blood Spangled Banner, just to see if it deserves that number 4 ranking. In the classic offensive versus defense type of fight, Tuwile Reaper will take on Hefty Sting in a fight that should excite many. And here we go for our third fight of the night. Hopefully we will see a finish in this episode. We have Tuwile Reaper taking on Hefty Sting. Both robots are gorgeous looking with their great themes that they have. Fighting out of the red square, we have Hefty Sting. When I asked this builder, how is this Halloween related, their one response was, bees are scary. So, I guess that makes sense. Hefty Sting is going to look to win. Fighting out of the blue square, we have Tuwile Reaper, a Reaper created robot that is an overhead spinner. This robot shoots fire, and it's going to be looking to cause a lot of damage against Hefty Sting. 3, 2, 1, let the matchup begin between Tuwile Reaper and Hefty Sting, and Tuwile Reaper immediately cannot move off the bat as Hefty Sting just bull rushes it across the arena, but now Tuwile Reaper is causing some damage to those wedges. Hefty Sting's one plan in this matchup is just to keep a bunch of pressure on Tuwile Reaper so that weapon cannot get at full pace, and it's doing a really good job so far that Tuwile Reaper just cannot stay balanced, but now it is, and a wedge has come off of Hefty Sting, which ultimately will completely change the pace of this fight. Without that wedge, there is only one other, and now damage can be done to the internal chassis of Hefty Sting. And Tuwile Reaper is still trying to stay balanced, trying to get that one good shot off, but it seems to be hitting itself against the wedge and flinging itself in the air, which makes it unstable. Hefty Sting is trying to keep that pace up, but without that wedge, it doesn't have that same drive that it used to have, and now both the wedges are gone, and I think this fight has just completely changed based off of that. I don't even see the stinger on top of Hefty Sting anymore. It didn't really do any damage before, but that stinger is now gone. It is a bee without a stinger. That is not what you want to see if you're a fan of Hefty Sting. And now Tuwile Reaper is causing a bunch of damage to Hefty Sting's face. Trying to go for the wheels and sending it off. As you can see though, Tuwile Reaper cannot move at all, really. It is very slow. That weapon is so overpowered that it can't even move straight. It is trying its best, but look how slow it is. And Hefty's Sting is just keeping that pace, even without the wedges, is getting hit in the face, getting flung away. And we have a minute left in the fight. Can Tuwile Reaper finish this? Or can Hefty's Sting get in a miracle and cause an upset based off of what has been happening? 45 seconds left in this fight, and Tuwile Reaper seems to be in control of this fight, even though it can't move. Hefty Sting, is trying to keep that pace where it just keeps going towards Tuwile Reaper, but without those wedges, and there goes a wheel. Without the wheel, it cannot do any of that. I don't know when that wheel has fallen off, but it just officially came off of the robot right now, and Tuwile Reaper seems to be in complete control while Hefty Sting is getting counted out. I think this is the end of the fight. 3 seconds, and this will go to another judge's decision. An interesting fight by Tuwile Reaper. I think this was obviously in favor of Tuwile Reaper. Hefty Stinger had a great plan, but it just didn't have the drive. Once that wedge fell off, it just didn't have the drive that it could get to keep the pressure on Tuwile Reaper. And I think that's where the other wedge has come off. And just from there, that was just a complete dominant performance, sending Hefty Sting across the arena to win the fight. While we wait for the judges to figure out who won that fight, let's take a look at the statistics of this fight. Again, I don't think this is a very close matchup after just seeing that Tuwile Reaper looked great. Even though it couldn't drive properly, it seemed to do a lot of damage defensively to claim the victory, in my opinion. Altogether had 53 total strikes with 5 significant strikes and a bunch of flips on top of that. I'm going to be curious to see what the judges think, and without further ado, let's see who won. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decision. All 3 judges score this contest 30-26 for the winner by unanimous decision, Tuwile Reaper. And with that, Tuwile Reaper will move on into the second round of the tournament, where it will face the number 2 seed, the Doctor. Again, this robot needs to prepare heavily for the Doctor because this robot didn't put on a great performance, and I'm honestly scared because the Doctor is one of the best robots in this tournament, in my opinion. But we're going to have to see when that time comes. Going into our final fight of the qualifying round, Reaper will take on the Grim Reaper. Now is the time to see which Reaper will come out on top and move on into the next round. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go, our final fight of the evening. We have Reaper going up against the Grim Reaper. We got 2 Reapers who will be going together to see who will belong in the first round of this tournament. Fighting out of the blue square, we have the Grim Reaper. This robot is a horizontal spinner, much like the Reaper itself. Both robots are looking to cause a knockout, which we haven't seen thus far. It will be going up against Reaper. Reaper is essentially the same design as the Grim Reaper, so we are expecting to see a lot of head-on-head weapon attacks, and I am actually very excited for this fight. 3, 2, 1, let the final fight begin between Reaper and the Grim Reaper, and immediately it seems like the Grim Reaper's weapon is not spinning while the Reaper's weapon is going at full speed. And the Grim Reaper's weapon just got hit up, but it is not properly working, it seems like. That is a huge flaw in the design of the Grim Reaper, and now the weapon has flown off, and Reaper is in control of this fight currently, where one weapon works and the other weapon doesn't. A huge hit which sends both robots flying, and now the Reaper looks really good currently going up against the Grim Reaper. Trying to get that weapon attacking the side wheels of the robot, but it doesn't seem like it can be doing it right now, and it looks like a wheel has come off, and now it is pinned against the wall. And now it's on fire! The Reaper is looking fantastic in this first minute of the fight, and the Grim Reaper is completely dead. It is not working. Reaper is spinning around, and it looks like we have our first finish of the night. Just like that, Reaper has won by knockout. A fantastic performance by Reaper. Commiserations to the Grim Reaper, because that weapon it just didn't seem to want to work, and I think that was the ultimate flaw. There it goes. Reaper was in control for the rest of the fight, and that's why it won, because that weapon just worked. This is the shot where it catches on fire, snipes the battery, and just like that, Reaper has won and has moved on into the next round. And just like that, we have our first finish of the night and the last finish of the night. Reaper, winner by knockout. Our best performance of the qualifier round will move on to fight Sin, the number 3 seed. Just because that was a good performance, I am now very excited to see how Sin will work against that robot. We might have our first upset in that fight because we haven't seen a true upset yet. An amazing performance by Reaper, and I'm honestly very excited to see how it's going to pan out in the rest of this tournament. But there's only one way to see, and that will come on episode 3. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this episode of RoboMania, the Halloween event. I look forward to seeing you all in episode number 2, where the first round officially begins between very high prospect robots. 4 more robots will move on into round number 2, and 4 will be eliminated. My name is GameandSoy, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all next time on the RoboMania Halloween event.